Hi, it's Luke, and today we're going to be talking about how you can make any camera's image look professional for a very cheap price and using certain filmmaking techniques. Let's get started. I hope you're going to enjoy this video. So one of the most important aspects when it comes to filmmaking is lighting. Now, I use two lights to light this shot which you're seeing right now, and they're only £50, which is an absolute steal considering they're LEDs and they come with soft boxes. The two lights that I'm using are positioned in two different places. I have a key light which is just here, which is lighting this side of my face, and I have a hair light and a fill light behind me, which is also giving a really interesting glare in the camera. And what it's also doing is lighting my background so I don't get any noise or artifacts in my shots. It's really important when you are lighting is you need to light them in certain ways that make sure your camera doesn't have to work too hard, because if you have a really cheap camera or a camera that doesn't have a very powerful sensor and there's bad lighting, that means you will be developing noise in your shot. And when you have noise, that immediately shows to the viewer of your film that you have a low quality camera and it's not professional. So do study lighting when you're trying to work out how you can make your image look as best as possible. But when you are outside, it is important that you use lighting as an advantage, because if there's interesting shadows, make sure you get those in your shot because it will just add extra depth. So now you've got your lighting perfect, it's now important to think about how you're going to add that extra depth and element in your shots. Now what I do is I use a lens with a high aperture, which means it can open very wide and let lots of light in and create a lot of blurry backgrounds. For example, in this shot here, the way I've made it look so cinematic and epic and professional is because I have a wall close to the lens and then a wall further away from the lens. And what that's doing is adding foreground and background and all those extra parts that go into one shot that just makes it way more interesting than just filming the plain old stone wall. So now what you need to think about is camera settings. Now you don't want anything overexposed or anything underexposed, because then you can't always fix that just as well as you could in camera as you can fix it in post. You always want to use double your frame rate, which is your shutter speed. So what I mean by this is you're filming at 24 frames per second, which is the best frame rate you can film for if you want to look natural. Then you want a shutter speed of 48. Now some cameras only do 50, but that's still going to look really good. And I think it's a common misconception that with iPhones they do 4K 60 and people will film in 4K 60. But that doesn't always look right when you're talking to camera, because you want something that looks like your eyes can see it. So now you have your ISO and shutter speed perfect. The final thing you want to do is think about your white balance. Always shoot at white balance 5500 Kelvin, because that's the most natural for what our eyes would see. And if you're filming at 3000, it'd be a lot warmer, and if you're filming at 6000 Kelvin, it will be a lot colder. So thank you for watching this video, and I really hope you have enjoyed it. And you now know how you can improve any camera by using some simple settings. Those simple settings could just be getting the right ISO and shutter speed, and then buying some cheap LED lights just to enhance your footage and add that extra depth when you're filming. And always think about it just before you start to record, how can I make this shot look better? Thank you for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe.